The modern-day assassins are weak. It's only a matter of time before I catch the last of them and kill them. But it's not enough for them to die. I want them to know how weak they truly are, and I want everyone to see them suffer. So on the day they finally meet me, they will welcome the death I offer them. Juhani Otso Berg, 2014. Hello, I'm Andrew, and I want to welcome you to Visions of the Past, a podcast all about the lore of Assassin's Creed. This is episode 99, and today we're going to talk about a man who is one of the most prominent modern-day villains in the series, Juhani Otso Berg. Now, before you come at me with pitchforks, hear me out. I know Otso Berg has only been seen in a handful of games. Assassin's Creed Revelations, Assassin's Creed Rogue, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia, and the Fate of Atlantis DLC for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where he is voiced by Andreas Apergis. But once you look at the comics that he's in, Assassin's Creed Brahmin, Assassin's Creed Templars, Assassin's Creed Reflections, and Assassin's Creed Uprising, along with the other games and media where he's mentioned or inferred to be a part of it, like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Initiates, Assassin's Creed Unity, Assassin's Creed Heresy, Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and even the board game Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice. He's one of, if not the most, fleshed out antagonists in the whole modern day story. To really get to know Berg, though, we got to start at the beginning of his life. Berg was born on June 17, 1985, in Mäkelä, Finland, though he didn't stay there long, as his father worked for an oil company that belonged to Abstergo Industries. This led him to being raised in countries such as Afghanistan, Kurdistan, and Oman. In the early 2000s, Otso got the permission from his father to return to Finland so he could join the army. At first, the other recruits made fun of his muddled accent, but Otso quickly shut down the jokes by proving himself to be an exceptional recruit, going so far as being one of the youngest special Jaegers in the Ute Jaeger regiment. He stayed in the regiment until sometime around 2010, when he chose to become a mercenary, believing the pay would be better than the Jaegers, because he needed to pay for cystic fibrosis treatments for his daughter Alina. This choice did end up costing Otso his marriage, though, as his wife, Helmi, disapproved of the life of a mercenary and asked for a divorce. Berg lived this way until one night his house was broken into by Dr. Warren Vidic with a team of Abstergo agents. As the agents apprehended him, Vidic was handed Alina, who was at this time crying from being woken up in the ruckus that was caused by the restraining of her father. As Berg watched, Vidic gave Alina a pill that Vidic claimed would cure her cystic fibrosis. This is when the ultimatum came from Vidic. Work for us and continue to get this medication, or don't. Berg took the deal under one condition: the punishment by his own hand of the man who woke up his daughter. Vidic agreed, ordering a man by the name of Jenkins to give Berg his sidearm. After giving up his gun, Berg fired a shot, presumably hitting and killing Jenkins in the process. Shortly after, Berg started in the Animi training program, and on October 12, 2012, he impressed Vidic enough with his training to move on to the second phase. At this point, Vidic promised money, power, and information on the Templars if he succeeded, but he also told him that there would be no going back. On October 28th, Otso impressed Vidic and other Templars enough to be raised to the rank of field agent. On an agent evaluation dated November 8th, he was identified by Sitbor Hasek as a potential member of the inner sanctum of the Templar Order, noting that he was an obedient and loyal agent dedicated to the Templar cause, though his daughter could be a possible weakness. On November 16th, Berg was sent to New York City by Letitia England to investigate a cybersecurity breach that was related to Isu artifacts that they were tracking, one of which happened to be in Manhattan. While he was there, he found Daniel Cross, who had escaped from an Abstergo facility in Philadelphia and had also been injured by Desmond Miles while trying to keep this artifact from being taken. Daniel, who was suffering from the bleeding effect at the time, attacked Berg, though Berg was able to subdue him and return him to Abstergo without an incident. After assassins led by Harlan Cunningham attacked an Abstergo facility in Rome, Berg chased Cunningham throughout Italy, and after getting clearance from his supervisors, chased him directly to an assassin base in Florence, Italy. After calling for backup, Berg was given command of Abstergo's Sigma team, and then led the assault on the assassin base himself on November 30th. This attack led the assassins to detonate a large explosion, where Berg and Cunningham were the only survivors, and caused the prominent facial scarring that defines Berg's features. Even though the mission resulted in the death of all of Sigma team, Berg's supervisors did not hold him responsible for the loss, and actually commended him for the death of 3 assassins. It seems that this was also the catalyst for his raise to Master Templar on December 6th. While in Philadelphia for this meeting with Letitia England, Daniel Cross injected him with a tracking device so his movements could be monitored, but at the same time he was also inducted to the inner sanctum of the Templar Order. 4 days later, on December 10th, he was present in that same room when Letitia reported to other high-ranking Templars that they had located Desmond Miles' father and current de facto mentor of the assassins, William Miles, in Cairo, Egypt. It wasn't long after that, and Berg had been sent to retrieve him with a new Sigma team. On December 12th, Berg led this iteration of Sigma team and successfully captured William Miles at the Museum of Egyptian Antiquities in Cairo, while William was recovering a power source for the Isu Grand Temple. Berg successfully ended up delivering William and the power source to the Abstergo facility within Rome. After dropping off William, Berg went quiet for a year, resurfacing early in November 2013. This was when he was assigned to track and pick up Jatsura, an employee from Mysore Tech, who was testing the Brahmin VR. Berg was sent because the assassin Jasdeep Dami rescued him and his fiancée Manama Das from Abstergo custody. Jat was using the Brahmin VR to search through the memories of his ancestor Raza Sora, looking for the Koh-i-Noir. And after making the vital mistake of hooking the system back up and logging into the Abstergo cloud, Berg was able to track down the assassin's safe house, but when he arrived, he found the Brahmin device smashed and the assassins gone. This finding caused Berg to report the assassins were no closer to finding the Koh-i-Noir than the Templars were, and recommended that the Indian subcontinent be monitored for further assassin activity to keep this failure from happening again. The events in India also led Berg to grow more concerned about a group called the Instruments of the First Will. This concern led to Berg infiltrating a Paris lab owned by Abstergo with Violet da Costa in order to use the Shroud of Eden to interrogate the Isu Consus on November 17th. This interrogation ended up with Berg and da Costa learning about the Isu Juno's desire to control the world. After learning about Juno's plan, Berg went back to searching for the Koh-i-Noir, this time by using a helix system while in Montreal to relive the lives of Albert Bolden and Darius Gift while they were in Shanghai in 1927. According to the information that the Templars had found in India, Berg believed that Bolden was the last person alive with the knowledge on the location on the artifact. Unfortunately, his time using the helix was unfruitful for the location of the Koh-i-Noir. With the dead end in the search of the Koh-i-Noir, Berg decided that they could take the time to find more of Albert Bolden's DNA by having other Abstergo agents search for his descendants. Berg's next assignment was to retrieve a precursor box from a facility in Rotterdam, Netherlands. On February 24th, Berg and Sigma team confronted a group of assassins that included Arjen Schutt. The assassins were able to kill a few members of Sigma team before escaping, but Berg was able to retrieve the precursor box. As of April 2014, Berg exchanged some emails with Layla Hassan, who was, at the time, working for Abstergo in research and development, where Berg showed very little care for Hassan because of her knack to not finish her projects or to even follow the rules within Abstergo. In May, Berg was tasked with finding an artifact known as the Ankh of Isis, though after shifting through all the information at his disposal, he came to the conclusion that the Ankh was nothing more than an assassin ploy to waste the Templars' time searching for fake pieces of Eden. By the end of the month, though, Berg was in Montego Bay, Jamaica, trying to find the observatory, an Isu location that housed an almirallary sphere that, when combined with a crystal skull and blood vial, could spy on the person whose blood was in the vial. What Berg ended up finding, though, was a lot of rubble that led him to the conclusion that the observatory collapsed sometime in the 18th century and was subsequently buried by the assassins. He He noted in his journal that he would need to return with a larger team to excavate the site. In October, Berg found himself in Paris, following assassins that destroyed the Abstergo lab that was dedicated to the study of the body of an Isu sage known by John Standish. This chase led Berg to La Rochelle, where the assassins escaped via ships in the harbor, but not before Galina Voronina stabbed Berg's right-hand man Sorkin multiple times. When discussing this with Letita England, Berg was adamant that if Sigma Team was still operational, they could have stopped the attack. Letita agreed and owned up to her mistake of dismantling Sigma Team and gave Berg access to reform the team. Berg, though, wanted to pull Violet DaCosta back onto Sigma Team, though she was in Montreal working on security for Abstergo Entertainment there. Berg convinced Letita to send him there to help finish her assignment and to reform Sigma Team as soon as he could. In November, Berg was in Montreal and during a conversation revealed to DaCosta that he had been in an animus only once and relived the life of one of his ancestors, a Viking who participated in the raid on Lindisfarne in 793. Shortly after this conversation, a virus outbreak led to Berg and Violet guiding an analyst through the memories of Shay Patrick Cormac, and when that was completed, they had the analyst upload the memories to the Helix servers as a message to the assassins, a message that when pressed, it isn't freedom that assassins want, but order. After the upload, Berg and Violet, along with Abstergo Entertainment COO Melanie LeMay, offered this analyst an ultimatum: join the Templars, or Berg would kill them. Berg then watched as the assassins emptied a few safe houses, shut down a few servers, put up new firewalls, and they flushed out the assassin's man in Montreal almost instantly. He also watched the communications of the assassin initiates to see where they were even running to. In 2015, Berg and Violet were assigned to aid Isabelle Ardant in finding a new Shroud of Eden. Luckily for Ardant, the pair arrived just before she was about to be assassinated by Sean Hastings and Rebecca Crane. Though the two assassins escaped, the Templars were unscathed. It wasn't long, though, and they had found the location of the shroud, and got there shortly before the assassins did. There was a short battle where Galina Voronina got the better of Berg, but, because of injuries to Rebecca Crane, the assassins fled without the shroud, allowing for Violet to deliver it to the Phoenix Project facility. After the incident in retrieving the shroud, Berg reported back to Letita England, who, in turn, ordered him to deliver the precursor box to Alvaro Grammatica. After Grammatica sent Berg the coordinates, Berg delivered the box and found that Grammatica had hoped to use the box to better understand the shroud. Even though Berg was on assignment in October of 2016, he was present for Simon Hathaway's induction into the inner sanctum of the Templar Order via video conference. Shortly after, Hathaway gave a presentation on the animus and his belief that it was not being used to its full potential to find pieces of Eden or the assassins. His presentation centered around the idea that normally the people that the Templars use to dig through the memories in the animus are normally ignorant to the Templars' goals, and if they had one person that knew what the Templars were looking for, that they could get through the memories much faster than a team not knowing what they were looking for. After the presentation, the members of the Inner Sanctum decided to give Hathaway's plan 1 week to test. 10 days after his induction into the Inner Sanctum, Hathaway interrupted a meeting of the Inner Sanctum to present his case for stealing the Sword of Eden, damaging Abstergo property, deleting memories of his ancestor, along with sharing confidential information. Hathaway accused the Inner Sanctum of heresy and presented his research. By the end of the presentation, Berg was willing to consider the ideas presented, and in the end came to Hathaway's defense, swaying the Sanctum from levying charges against Hathaway. I think this is a good place to stop talking about Berg's life for today. It takes us up through 2016, and while it covers most of his life, there's just so much packed in the next 5 years of Berg's life that it deserves its own podcast. Looking back at Berg's life so far, it's pretty easy to see how he got to where he is, starting out as a man that wanted to serve his country and then provide for his family. A man with his skill set was bound to come across the radar of Abstergo, and what they could do to help his family definitely makes sense that he would join them and become one of their deadliest Master Templars. While running Sigma Team, he's got one of the highest assassin kill counts of any known Templar, and by joining the Inner Sanctum, he even became a member of the leadership, making choices for the entire Templar Order. Though there is one thing about him that has gotten me kind of confused. I don't remember anywhere where it stated that Sigma Team was ever shut down. So when Latita England came up and said, "Oh, we're gonna reinitiate Sigma Team and you're gonna be at the lead. I made a mistake. I'm sorry." When was it shut down? Was it shut down before he went to excavate the observatory? It's just one of those little bits of information that I had a hard time finding and would like to know. But what are your thoughts on Otso Berg's rise in the Templar Order? Let me know over on Twitter at visions_AC. And I want to thank you for joining me today. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for new episodes. And don't miss next week. We're going to unveil a special Assassin's Creed D&D episode to celebrate our 100th episode. If you love stories on Assassin's Creed lore, please tell your friends and follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform. Do you want to support this podcast and help provide for new episodes? Visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Visions of the Past for links to my Twitter, TikTok, and other social channels, and for information on how to support this podcast. Until next time, my assassin friends, make sure to follow the Creed. And to those Templars listening, may the Father of Understanding guide you.